All right, welcome back to this channel. We're going to do a quick summary on Bio 101. And in Module 1, we have Introduction to Biology. And let's talk about some key definitions. Definition of biology. We know biology is gotten from two Greek words, bios and logos. Bios means life, logos means study. So we say it's the study of life and living things. And it's also called life science. It's also called life science. So biology is life science. And properties of life, we have order, sensitivity. Order refers to organization, which begins from atom. The atom, um, um, different atoms come together to form molecules, or similar atoms too could do that. They form molecules. Then several molecules come together, then they form macromolecules. Macromolecules now function together. Macromolecules are like our organelles. And macromolecules actually um, come together to form the organelles. These functioning macromolecules that form the organelles of the cell. The organelles won't work together to form the first level of um, organization of life. So this is the first level of organization of life. So the cell, so it's an ordered compartment where we have functioning organelles. Then cells function together to form tissue. Then tissues work together to form organ. Then organ work together to form system. And the systems now work together to form population, the organism rather, the organism itself. Then we now have organism of the same species, we have a population of that species. Then when we now have several population, then they form a community. Then several communities now form an ecosystem, and several ecosystems form the biosphere, which is the Earth. Okay, so that's order. Sensitivity, that's our ability, or also called irritability, our ability to respond to stimuli. And reproduction, which is where we pass on our genetic material, DNA, to the next generation. Then adaptation, where living organisms learn to thrive, thrive in its environment. Um, with the Darwinian theorem, talking about our ability to survive by fitting into the environment. We call it the survival of the fittest. So that is adaptation. Growth, also in a permanent increase in size of an organism, and development, which is also about our um, um, intelligence, mastery of things. You know, growth is physical, development is not physical. The regulation and homeostasis, that is our ability to maintain a fairly constant internal environment. Energy energy processing, that is during respiration, through respiration, where our body breaks down macromolecular food substances to release energy. Then evolution, a gradual change over time in an organism, or over a long period of time actually. So we have homeostasis, which is a steady internal condition maintained by living organisms. And we have chemotaxis, which are these two here are the forms of responses to stimuli. So chemotaxis simply means response to chemical stimuli. It could be positive or negative. So if the um, response is positive, then it means it is towards that particular thing. And if it is negative, it means it's against that particular thing. Same as phototaxis. So for example, if a plant moves in direction of light, that is phototropic, that's positive photo phototaxis. So movement in response to light, if it moves away from it, that's negative. So we have thermoregulation, which is just regulation of internal temperature. So there are some organisms that are warm-blooded or homoecothermic. Homoecothermic. Then we have the cold-blooded, which are poikilothermic. Poikilothermic. These ones are also called endotherms. So, and most and we mammals are endotherms, or most mammals are endotherms. Then we now have poikilotherms. Poikilotherms are cold-blooded. So most aquatic animals, if not almost all, most aquatic animals basically are exotherms or poikilothermic or cold-blooded. These are all terms we use to refer to almost the same thing, but we use them differently too because they mean several things. For example, endotherm are warm-blooded animal. Um, um, Endotherm means that they regulate their body temperature internally by themselves, and warm-blooded is just um, the 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 result of their endothermicity. Okay, then hierarchy of life. So I've mentioned this. Now, theories of origin of life. We have the special creation theory, which states that life was created by a supreme being, and that um, any type of non-living thing could unexpectedly and spontaneously give rise to a living thing. Okay, and the theory was um, a major proponent of the sorry, I misplaced it. Sorry, that's spontaneous generation. A spontaneous generation that says that any type of living material could unexpectedly or spontaneously give rise to another living organism. And a major proponent was Aristotle. Now, this one was the theory of, which is special creation theory, that is theory of a particular almighty being or God. Okay, so who created all things? Then the theory of catastrophism, or the cata, catas, yeah, catastrophism, says that life created anew after its catastrophe. That is, after the creation of life, there are new special events known as catastrophe, which are disastrous, which lead to destruction of um, a particular existing group of organisms, will happen, and then another new set of organisms will come up again, and like that, they keep so they we keep having new set of organisms taking over, and like that over time. So that is the theory, catastrophism. Then the cosmozoic theory, we also call it the theory of panspermia, the panspermia theory. Is that okay? And it was first proposed by Richter in 1865 and was supported by Arrhenius and many contemporary scientists. But because there was no evidence, this theory was jettisoned. Then also, it was the theory that stated that the resistant spores of some organisms fell from the space, from the sky, out of the earth. They fell into the earth and began to give rise to the living things. Then chemical evolution, which is the one that has stood till date because of the empirical evidences that could be shown. We also call it the materialistic theory. Chemical evolution is also called the materialistic theory, and he says that life has arose from chemical reactions over time. So I.A. Oparin in 1923 supported this. JBS Haldane in 1928 also support this. So these scientists that I mentioned, they are the major proponents of these scientists in the years mentioned. Then the scientists and dates, we have Aristotle supported spontaneous generation between 384 BC and 322 BC. Then Richter, who proposed the cosmozoic theory, and Arrhenius supported in 1908. Then A.I. Oparin was the one who proposed the chemical evolution theory in 1923, and J.B.S. Haldane proposed chemical evolution theory in 1928, supported it actually. Now, some other key points that we talked about that were mentioned in that note was viruses are not fully alive, but they can produce and cause diseases. So viruses are not fully alive because outside of a living cell, they are non-living, they exist as mere crystals. But inside the living cell, they can actually harness crystal, harness the living material of that organism, the genetic material of that organism, and begin to replicate. These their major, um, these the by and large the only um, characteristic or property of living thing that they perform: replication or reproduction. The it's primarily reproduction, but because it is on the very is a very primitive form, or not so advanced, not complex. Yes, because it's not complex, so we just call it replication, right? So, and they have, a typical viruses that affect bacterium are called bacteriophage actually, bacteriophage, or phages for short, bacteriophage. And the typical virus has is enclosed by a capsome. A capsome is just like our cell phospholipid bilayer, and there are some viruses that are not enclosed by capsome. They are called naked viruses. Those ones only have the capsid. The ones that have capsome have capsids too. Capsid, in which we have the nuclear material that they want to transfer into the organism that the hosts that they attack. Now, these things you see me draw here are basically the protein. This is the protein coat. This is the protein coat here, and this is the fatty layer, phospholipid bilayer, and we call it the capsome. And then mm, I wanted to say, okay, these structures here, they are signal proteins that help it to attach to the host. Okay, then modern biology evolved from botany and zoology into a broad biological science, and the four major questions that biology seeks to answer, I summarize them as: what makes something alive? What are the characteristics that we see that makes us to say something that is alive? And how do living things work? I forgot to mention that viruses is the one that breaks the barrier between living. Would I say break barrier? It just stands in between the thin line that separates living from non-living. So viruses cannot be classified as living because outside the living cell, they are non-living. They exist as just crystal. And inside the living cell, they can replicate by harnessing the um, um, machinery of the host to begin to make copies of themselves. So that is why they are intermediary between both worlds. So how do living things work, and how do we classify them? Based on what characteristics do we use to classify them? And how do life's diversity arise, and how it is maintained? Then humans actually existed. Chemical evolution started about 3.8 billion years ago, and humans began to evolve around 2.5 million years ago. And then we have mammals, birds, and flowers, which evolved about 120 to 200 million years ago, and the Earth solar system formed about approximately 4.5 billion years ago. All right, so this is a summary of the notes. We're going to consider some questions. So make sure that you see this question, the question and answer part of this video. All right, let me open that.